Hello again, Mercedes fans and 1/64 scale collectors of Mercedes. Well, I got a model here. It's one of these, I think it's a fly-by-night operation. It's GFCC. That's what I can make of it. And the reason why I say fly-by-night is there's no licensing here by Mercedes. But, that might not be true because, there's no licensing, but, this stuff has an Albany, New York address. So these guys are just asking to get sued, right? Limited edition $4.99, probably of this colorway. Maybe it's because classic cars, if this thing is from 1960, it's out of... I don't know what the copyright laws are on old designs. I know Brompton Bicycles had a lot of copyright issues, but after like 30 years or something like that, I don't think they can protect the look of their bicycles anymore. So maybe that's the excuse as to why you see so many unlicensed models now. Or, well, partially it's because that country that makes them just doesn't care about laws or ethics. But maybe part of it is just it's legal. Please leave a comment if you're a lawyer. We love you. Anyways, GFCC, my first one, and it's got opening panels. Not a fan, but I'm not aware of a better 300 SL. With my luck, someone will come out with one next month with no opening panels. But until then, this is probably going to be the best one that you can get. Although I think I've seen another brand pushing this casting as well. What's going on here? Alright, well, I can actually read off some stats right off of this card. So it's a 3-liter inline-six 4-speed manual, making around 240 horsepower, 235 kilometers per hour. Its dimensions. Alright. Oh, cool. Real metal license plates. Granted, they're not stamped numbers, but they're nicely done, nicely painted. This must be a real car, I bet, in real life. With this registration. If anyone wants to research that, please feel free. Then we have a roof. Reading Wikipedia, this roadster was produced between 1957 and 1963. It came out after the coupe. And a bunch of changes occurred. They changed the tube frame to create more space in the trunk so it could fit custom luggage. But they had to put in a smaller fuel tank as well. The doors have a low slung top surface, I guess, to make it easier to get in and out. Although I can't say I see that on this model here. I don't see any delicate tow hooks or antennae, so I guess I'll just take this off the base. It actually has the brand on the bottom. Rog Phillips. Let's see, it also weighs 125 kilos more than the coupe. Rear axle has changed a little bit. I guess that's all I care to learn. So finally, let's look at these photographs. A random internet search shows the average transaction of a 300 SL is like $1.5 million, but that might be referring to the gull wing. It's one of the rare cases where perhaps the coupe is better looking than the roadster. So looking at that's an illusion maybe from the shadow. You see how to me I see this like sagging line in the door, but maybe if you ignore that roof, it might actually be a straight cut right there. See, I don't see any sagging. I don't see any sagging here either, but it might actually be accurate. I don't know. You'll have to decide when you pause the video and compare for yourself. Alrighty there. I did pause and search for that registration tag, but I couldn't find images of a Mercedes with that registration. Alright, let's start with the wheels as usual. We got the Mercedes star on a black, or just chrome. I guess this is just chrome. But the star is nice. It looks like it could be a sticker or a foil decal of some sort. And it's centered nicely. And then the rest of the wheel is painted silver, but then the rim is chromed plastic, so it's a really nice wheel, and it's actually passing air, so that's very good. Much better than the Scale Mini 280 SL that I ragged on. Just watch that video, you'll know why. This is diecast, whereas the Scale Mini was resin, so I'm really critical on more expensive models. This model was, it wasn't all too expensive, but it was definitely pricey for a diecast. The silver paint looks pretty good. It doesn't look like a hot rod silver. Pretty nice flakes. Unfortunately, I can see an imperfection there. I don't know if that's a dent in the casting or what. This ridge here, I think there's a break. This might be part of the base. I'm not sure, but it's a physical break. The tires are nicely bowed out, so those look good. The vents here, whoa. So first, just looking at it with my own eyes, these chrome strips I think are added on. I think they're photo etched pieces of metal. It's actually possible that this whole thing is a photo etched piece of metal. I almost feel like there's air literally passing behind these strakes. You'll have to decide if you look at the shadows. I think it is. So I think that's floating. You know, these three slanted strakes are floating in front of that in blacked out recess. So that's actually quite unexpected and very appreciated. What's kind of lame is the door handle. Although if I look at the side photograph, that's a pretty lame door handle. It's just like a slot like this. This one's raised. I think it might actually be flush on the real car and maybe it pops out. These I forget what they're called, eyebrows or mustache, whatever flares above the wheels are nicely done. Let's go into the front. Alright, the headlights are vertical. It's sad they have to say that, but again, look at the Scale Mini 280 SL. So the headlights are nice. You got this ribbing texture that makes them look all Fresneled. And the orange up top is definitely a pin going into the casting. There's some depth and detail, but sadly it's different. You know, this one's white and this black. I don't know why there would be a difference there. The bumper is a separate chromed piece, and then the grille as well. The grille, it goes in pretty deep, and you can see an egg crate pattern back there, some horizontal rectangles. The black here in the Mercedes star is nice, and then this actually has the blue, or a nicer star here, and it's actually like indication of text. So very nice, much better than Scale Mini again, for less money. Alright, this is where I'm not liking things. Is this giant panel gap. Oh my god. It's just, it's nice that it's all even, but it's just so detracting. Look at the panel, look at this one, right? Because that's just part of the casting. And then look how much wider this is. It's so noticeable. Why did I buy this? Why? Why do I torture myself all the time? I can't even get the pick in there, so I guess that's good. Meaning it's a tight gap. There's a photo etched piece of metal here, very nice. And then the wiper blades, photo etched and bent perpendicular, or just kind of perpendicular with the windscreen. So this is very nice. The mirror, bullet mirror is good. I'm gonna guess that might be an antenna stub. And then the chromed plastic windscreen looks alright. And then it's got sun visors painted black. There's a rear view mirror on the dashboard itself, all chromed plastic. Oh, look at that. That looks cool from this angle. The orange there. Let me get some poster putty. Yeah, I was zoomed in all the way, which is kind of unfair for a diecast. But it's just habit now. So if you have a hard time opening the hood, you can use poster putty to grab it. Oh, that's why I wouldn't open it, because it opens, the hinge is from the front. But still, I couldn't get my pick underneath any edge, so. It opens a good amount, as a realistic amount. And then looking in here, I mean, it's not as bad as an M2 machine. There's some, you know, dimensionality to the engine itself. There's a little yellow there. Maybe that's brake cylinder caps or something, or battery or something. Yeah, I guess it's okay. I would still rather just have a closed hood entirely so it matches the gaps of the door. Ugh. There's the dental pick. Let's move on. So the steering wheel looks pretty nice, being two-tone. It's got the Mercedes star canted off a little bit. The shifter also has a knob. Granted, that's the largest shifter knob I've seen in a while. That would be like shifting a bocce ball or something. It's funny. It's better than just a stick, though. All right, yeah, there's that mirror, and then look at the gauges. Those look really nice. I can't zoom in any further. So this is like looking at a 1/18 scale model right now. But look at the gauges. There's like chrome rings, and then the needle and the numbers are white. That's very cool. And then that must be a decal on the dashboard with 300 SL. Although that 300 SL looks like it's raised. I could be mistaken, but it looks nice. And there's a clock, a vent. There's a lot of shininess going on in that dashboard. Even down there's a decal or something of some sort of HVAC maybe. So that's cool. Very, very nice. The seats have some ribbing, of course. And then we have a chrome strip going around here. And then what's going on here? Did this come out because the roof? Maybe the roof just slides over that. Here's a fuel filler, and then some sort of dimple for the lock. This side, let's see if the wheels look okay. Well, that sticker's a bit off. It's very shiny, though. Yeah, that thing looks cool. This one's good. So 3 of the 4 wheels have good Mercedes stars, I would say. And then the taillights, I think those might just be painted. I think there's a chrome piece of plastic with some transparent red. Alright. So that could be better, but this model wasn't overly expensive like a resin. And it just says 1960 back here, so you don't even need to put those license plates on. This is a shiny sticker. Shiny sticker. Looks very nice. But again, oh boy, that trunk gap. That trunk gap is... See? Why do people want this? Why do you want to have an ugly looking model because you want to see a black void? I mean, how often do you see cars with their hoods and their doors open? Go outside and count how many cars you see with the hood open or the trunk open or the door open. The majority of times, cars are closed. So, I complain about it all the time and I'll continue doing so. GFCC, you're trying to make fancy Hot Wheels, it seems. When you could have made it just a nicer model for less money, because there'd be less parts involved. In their defense, I gotta say that the gaps are all equal, so you're not gonna get that with the cheaper brands. That's actually pretty impressive. But yeah, going to the bottom, nice. We know what the car is. We know what scale it is. We know where it's made. What we don't know is who made it. So yeah, that's strange. The packaging has the address and the brand, but not this. So if you buy this without packaging, you're going to have to guess what it is. Basic enough details here. Just the crudeness of this casting makes it seem like it's made of metal, and the weight of it as well. So you'll notice there's no screws whatsoever. So you can't modify this thing very easily. You got some funky treads there. And then you have a chromed plastic exhaust pipe that I didn't even notice before. It's actually hooked up and out. And actually, that looks like the rear photograph. It actually has this slot shape to it. In this case, there's a little black paint, and it actually is recessed. My pick is going in there a little bit. So that's actually very, very cool. I gotta say... if you like opening panels, this is right up your alley, because everything else on this thing is very well done, minus that one minor misplaced decal, which I think you gotta accept at this price range. Yeah, and then you got a lot of these photo etched metal pieces like a resin model would have, but it doesn't quite have the resin model price. It's somewhere in between, So I guess the last bit is to try to figure this stuff out. Oh, this is probably luggage to go into that trunk. Well, where's my little putty again? Yay, so now I can put this in here and not see that because it's black. So, alright, now the roof. I'm not sure why you'd want to display a roadster in the roof up position, but it's actually two pieces, clear and black plastic or painted plastic. But the window is a separate piece, it looks like, so that's a lot of effort. And it does just sit on there. I thought you'd have to remove the tonneau first. And I gotta say, it fits okay. Not too gappy, and no gap at all there along the bottom. I think the roof fit, the windshield fit is pretty good as well. I guess if you put some poster putty on these sun visors to really hold it in place. Hold on, let's look at that photograph again. Oh, my microphone cable almost pulled the camera down. That looks pretty good. So it's well done. Well modeled, that roof. Too bad I'll never use it. So let's look at a few other Benzes here. Here's the Kyosho at 280 SL. I'm not pulling out the Scale Mini. They don't deserve it. I'm still angry at that brand. I'm angry at myself for buying that thing. Although it looks great in the photos. Okay, well, anyways, the Kyosho's still good. It has painted on taillights though, but I'm pretty sure this Kyosho was like $6 or something when it was new, so. And along those lines, a Norev. This is a 1954 SLR, I believe it is. So a race car of its day. Norev is not really they're not really high up on the scale model list, I would say. They're more like toys, but this one, because it's such a simple shape, I like it. It also came with a cool transporter. That's really why I bought it. Miraculously, this is a free item that comes with UCC cans of coffee every now and then. Granted, I don't know when they made this thing, but someone got this for free when they bought UCC coffee in Japan. I had to buy it myself, but it's actually well done. The stance is good. The only thing, it doesn't have any interior or clear windows. So, let's get these two out of here because they're really not 300 SLs. And then the last one, and a totally unfair comparison, is the MY64, which might possibly be the best resin brand out there. Granted, I don't have a whole lot of them, but every one I have is immaculate. There aren't any flaws that I remember. Although I do feel it's wasteful for me to have to purchase this wood base. I'd be perfectly happy with just a plastic base. And they don't seem to take credit for their work, because again, it's probably like a legal thing where they don't want to put their brand on the base. So if you can only buy one 300 SL and you want the best quality, I would say the MY64 is it. But if you want a nice one that's not expensive, you might be able to find one of these UCCs on eBay for not too much, considering they were free originally. So, yeah, in summary, it's a good model if you like opening panels. If you really want to have some sort of weird garage diorama or something like that, then yeah, I guess this model's great. It has a lot of great details that you would find on a resin. It's just that for me, I don't really display my models in such positions. You know, I just want to look at the thing as it normally sits, like these photographs. Alright. Alright, well, thanks for watching. Not sure if I'm going to get any other ones. I think they might make like a old Bentley or old Rolls Royce. It's possible, but again, I think that probably has opening panels as well. But you never know. I break my rules all the time. Thanks for watching today. I'll see you the next time around.